Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Moskalensky Show, Show 9. Our first topic for today will be movies. Wide variety of them, and I want to bring this up so I can go into more details regarding my list, which I brought up in the last episode, I believe, or the last show, about my top 10 movies and video games 2016. But before I do that, I would like to express my regards to my sincerest condolences to the people of Charlottesville who sadly who just had a serious tragedy. So my sincerest condolences to the people of Charlottesville. If anyone's watching or if anyone knows someone from Charlottesville, just please, my sincerest condolences. Anyways, to go back to the topic at hand, which is movies right now, we're going to be jumping into that, more specifically my top 10 movies of 2016, and hopefully I'll have more time to go into more in-depth and analysis. On free-for-all, I have some stuff to talk about the show itself, but we'll deal with that then. And in the meantime, if anyone would like to call in, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Now, to those of you who don't know, I recently made a list of my top 10 movies and video games 2016. And we're basically going to be undergoing the list, and I would also like to hear your opinions, assuming you would like to leave them. Like, do you think a certain movie should have been on the list? Do you think I was right to put a certain movie on the list, but not as high or as low as I did? Do you think the movie on this list is garbage? I know for a fact that my mother hates most of the movies on this list, but hey, that's it's called Ben. If you go to the post itself, which is splattered throughout my Google Plus, I mean, you'll have no trouble finding it if you just go to my account, which is Ben Moskalensky. I mean, it's called Ben's Top 10 Movies of 2016. The reason, because it's my personal choice. So please do not get triggered if you disagree. If you think my reasons are bad, well, please tell me, and please tell me what you thought. Firstly, or I guess number 10, Star Trek Beyond. Star Trek Beyond is so great because, well, it's a Star Trek. I'm not going to read off the entire post because, A, that would make my commentary pretty bland and feel kind of useless, if you will. And B, there's way too much. If I go through everything, we're going to be here the entire show for even one of the lists, let alone both. But yeah, Star Trek Beyond, in my view, is so great because it felt like a Star Trek again. We had a lot of big flops this year. I mean, a lot of big flops, even from some of the mega massive companies. But Star Trek Beyond, in my view, was so good because it felt like a Star Trek. It didn't go too much into special effects and everything, and focused more on its story and its message, which, in my view, is what a Star Trek is meant to be about. Number 9 is Kubo and the Two Strings. It just felt like a really great return to the animated genre. It had all kinds of funny, unique characters and scenarios. And in my view, if you're just looking for a fun movie to pass the time or to teach your kids a nice life lesson, watch Kubo and the Two Strings. If you're a fan of typical Hollywood garbage, go watch some other movie. And there's no sappy Hollywood ending. It's a very nice, bittersweet ending to Kubo and the Two Strings, which in my view is a really nice refresher from all these everything's okay, bad guys are actually, we change them to good and everyone's happy and tra-la-la rainbows. Like Kubo and the Two Strings, be it sweet, it is actually bittersweet in its ending. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the animating style is very, very charming. It has a very nice kind of rustic feel without becoming diluted to the point where it looks like Undertale. Number 8, Independence Day Resurgence. I believe this is my most controversial decision to put on this list, mostly because a lot of people despise this movie. But then again, a lot of people loved it for the same reasons I loved it. It felt like a really nice way to get back to nostalgia without becoming another Episode 7, which in my view was just a blatant copy of Episode 4, even though it wasn't horrible. But yeah, Independence Day Resurgence, if any of you watching were a fan of the original, there are some very satisfying scenes, if you will, in the movie, but it did feel like more of a Hollywood movie, kind of, in its general feeling. In my view, I mean, I come from a very biased perspective since I love Independence Day, the original, and it's just so cool to go back to it, and they actually did it pretty well. They gave it the feeling of the first movie without just going to the point where, like, this is insane. They might as well have just remastered or remade the first movie. And by the way, I'm ready for Independence Day 3 to wrap up the trilogy. I only had 2 animated movies this time. I'm not sure why. I thought I'd have 3 or 4, but just 2 animated movies on this list. But the second of which is number 7 on my list, being The Secret Life of Pets. Now, The Secret Life of Pets is it's really funny. I mean, that's pretty much it. Even though there are certain levels to it which make it a more deep movie, which I personally appreciate, it's really funny. I mean, I believe I believe it was Illumination. I'm gonna double check this right now. Um, Illumination made this movie, and they've made a lot of greats. I mean, they made The Despicable Me's. They made Hop, sadly, but yeah, they did make it fact The Secret Life of Pets, and boy, was that a good one. It really recaptured the Looney Tunes style without without going into extreme detail, to the point where like they copied jokes where it's like dog season, cat season, like nothing like that. But the style of comedy is very similar to Looney Tunes, to the point where, and yes, I say this in my post as well while I talk about Secret Life of Pets, you were keeling over laughing so hard that you actually miss some jokes. But it's not to the point where it just becomes insane and you're just all tapped out. My view, Secret Life of Pets is a great great between, if you will. And there are no technical difficulties this time in the show, if anybody was wondering. So if any of you listening at home right now would like to call in, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Let me repeat that a bit slower in case anyone missed it. The number to get into this show is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Again, 24777. Moving onwards. Number 6 is Captain America Civil War. And by the way, Marvel came out with 4 movies this year. Sorry for a bit of spoilers for the next 8 minutes of this segment, but Marvel came out with 4 movies this year. All 4 of them are on this list. That's impressive. And the lowest, and the worst of Marvel's movies this year is Captain America Civil War, and it's still my 6th favorite movie of the year. That's how you know you're doing something right. When your worst movie out of 4 movies is number 6 on a top 10 list. And I put a ton of work in this list. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a professional, but I put an insane amount of work, a ton of time and effort, and just countless, okay, not countless, but a fair number of hours going into this list. Like, this wasn't some list I threw together in 5 minutes. Even from the length of it alone, you can tell that it's just, it's not something that was thrown together in a couple of minutes. But yeah, Captain America Civil War is like a really satisfying climax. It was kind of on par with everything else. It's just the fact that it's a really nice climax to all the anticipation we had from the past movies, like the other Avengers and so on. It's a temporary climax. I mean, I'm ready for Civil War Part 2, and Infinity War is going to be the grand climax. But in the meantime, at least, Civil War is a really nice kind of wrap-up thing. It brought back Bucky, which I love, because Winter Soldier is possibly my favorite Marvel movie of all time. Top 3, top 5, at the very least. I mean, just if anyone's looking for one of Marvel's best movies, just watch Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It was a masterpiece. But hey, I'm sure that'll be on a different list a different day. But yeah, Captain America Civil War is just a great conclusion. In my view, there could have been more. Like they did, like Spider-Man, they really screwed up everything regarding Spider-Man. They could have made some of the feuds a bit better, but it was really nice to go look into all this deep lore. In my view, that just made it really a fun experience overall. Sorry if from time to time you hear winces of pain. I stubbed my toe just now, my little toe, like the tiniest little toe. And I actually have an ice pack with me right now. So if any of you would like to join the show while I kind of sit here in pain, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Now back to my list. And again, the subject is movies. So if any of you would like to interject, please let me know. So we're going to be moving onwards right now. On to our next topic, which is Deadpool. Deadpool was a comedic masterpiece. It was just hilarious. I have not seen it myself, but from everything I've read, I've looked into all of it. Again, to these movies, this is the only movie on this list I haven't seen personally, but I do all the research necessary, and boy, was that movie good from what I hear. The comedy is really funny. It's not. It's typical. It's like it's slapstick. I mean, it's really funny, but it's not stupid. I mean, it's smartly done stupid comedy. I know how that sounds, but it's really true, and you'll see what I mean if you watch it. Oh wait, you can't watch it because it's rated R, and that's why it's number 5 on my list. Not higher, not lower, number 5, because they made it rated R for no reason. Number 4, and by the way, it has a very different feel. Deadpool, not number 4. Number 4 is X-Men Apocalypse. I know I was not kidding about Marvel having 4 movies this year, and all 4 of them are on this list. Yeah, number 4, X-Men Apocalypse. Marvel just did another great job with this movie. And it feels like another X-Men on the overall. It has the same witty characters that we already love. It has the same witty jokes. But this movie does something that is practically groundbreaking compared to some of almost every other movie. It's just some groundbreaking stuff. A 2-point perspective. It sounds so basic, but it's ever so true. A 2-point perspective can completely change the way things are looked at. That's one of the things I love in books, is when there's a 2-point perspective. Not from Ner, which is the main villain, Apocalypse. And in my view, they should have done that as well. But from the perspective of Magneto, people in real life actually felt bad for Magneto and actually sympathized with him. And that's my point. If we stop looking at things so black and white, at least in this regard, and in movies we start portraying our villains as having motivation, then things can get really interesting. And the whole story they told with Magneto really makes you feel for the guy, and you can understand why he's doing from his perspective. And that's one thing that if Marvel keeps doing this, and they have done this in other movies as well going forward, if you look at the patterns, you notice they do this more. By the time other movie companies catch up, books, people are already doing this in books. Not too many, but I'm one of them, luckily enough. But yeah, there are a good amount of authors who do this now, and the number is growing really quickly, and good for them. The book industry is being taken over, but the book industry isn't as popular as it used to be, whereas movies are just climbing, climbing, and climbing. But if Marvel keeps doing this, they're going to be way, way ahead of DC. And by the time DC figures it out, Marvel will have already established its place. So X-Men Apocalypse is a fantastic Marvel movie, not only due to the fact that it matches Marvel in its other regards, but also because of this completely new layer of depth. Number 3, Arrival. Arrival. Oh my goodness, Arrival. The graphics were nothing special. The characters were nothing special. The story was kind of cool, but the message was nothing special, but the story. It is to die for. The story is so complex, so entrancing. I couldn't stop talking about it for weeks on end. I mean, this movie just completely captivated me and just sucked me into its world. I was just completely entranced in the amount of creativity and thought that went into this amazing plot. I can't even begin to describe it to you. It makes you think about the very concepts of our reality, and thinking about the fact that there's such an infinite cataclysm of everything in time that even the smallest percentage of it can shatter our perception of reality. And that is a line I ripped right from the post. So if you'd like to go check it out, it's on my Google Plus account. But it is just absolutely amazing. It's a deep movie without getting to the point where it's some boring philosophical whatever. Arrival is completely a movie for the kind of person who can be mentally challenged, not just look at gunslinging. Number 2, Doctor Strange. This is the last Marvel movie, and it is the best Marvel movie of the year. Doctor Strange not only had terrific actors like Benedict Cumberbatch, who in my view is one of the best actors of our time, but had just amazing comedy. I mean, this movie was just hilarious. I mean, I saw this movie myself. I just couldn't stop laughing. And the graphics are so unique. It just shows that you don't need a ton of colors to make stuff unique. You just need to use interesting shape schematics. And if you can kind of like visually trick the eye into thinking that there's more than there actually is, that's all you got to do. And I feel like the animators for Doctor Strange did that perfectly. Like, props to Doctor Strange for doing that. and it's like the Breaking Bad of movies. I mean, except minus the part where it's rated MA. Like normal people can watch this movie. I mean, Marvel literally capitalized on everything they were doing good, except for the villain perspective in X-Men Apocalypse. Except for that, they capitalized on everything, and they just multiplied it like to the third root, to the third power. Anyways, sadly, we will be moving on to our next subject now, which is Kim Jong-un, since there's been a lot going on with him lately. But in the meantime, just like to let everybody know that you can go and look at my #1 choice of the year on Google Plus right now. It is there right now. I don't want to tell you what it is. I want you guys to go check it out for yourself. So it's on my Google Plus account, Ben Moskalensky. And if anyone would like to call in for our next topic, which once again is Kim Jong-un, or however you pronounce it, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite little pudgy, insane dictator. That's the best term I can think of. First of all, we are living now in the 21st century, to those of you who did not know. And I'd be concerned if you don't know, because, yeah, shockingly enough, we are in the 21st century. Well, Kim Jong-un is running a Hitlerian Roman Empire, pretty much, as for its that's pretty much how you can define its democracy, over in North Korea. And there's been a lot going on with him lately because he's waving his hands even more frantically than he typically does. I mean, Kim Jong-un is threatening to kill us all. That's a scary thing. And it's not some little, I don't know, some refugee from some American enemy country that's mad at America for not letting them immigrate here. Nothing like that. This is a world leader. This is the leader of a country. This is the supreme dictator of a country who, yes, has access to nuclear technologies. I mean, I'm just happy he hasn't done anything yet, because he said he'd strike the West Coast first. So to any of you Washingtonians here with me, let's just hope that Kim Jong-un is blowing smoke. But it just amazes me how some people can be so stupid, especially people on that level. I mean, I believe in North Korea. I think they look at their leader as a god. I think these people pray to Kim Jong-un. Yes, you just heard that. And this is what's so insane to me. It's like we no longer live in barbaric times. I mean, Kim Jong-un has access. Every country has access to other countries nowadays. It's not like they don't have the technology or the means to do so. It's just they are physically willing not to do so. And it just amazes me. And these idiots have nuclear technology. Nuclear weapons. I mean, are you kidding me with this? And this guy, instead of just backing off and running his little dictatorship, no, he needs to try and, wipe out the entire world. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and wipe out the U.S., which is it's terrifying. And I just don't see the point of this. It's not like he's going to get any land. I mean, he knows there's going to be an immediate retaliation, because if he didn't know this, he would have already done it. So why are you threatening? There's no point in threatening us. Just do it or don't. And please, please don't. And if anyone would like to call in, any loyal Kim Jong-un believers, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Back to the topic at hand, which is once again Kim Jong-un. I'm actually going to look up developing deals on this at the moment. And I'm happy that our current administration is not backing down from this threat. Because, I mean, regardless of what you think of President Trump, some idiots are saying that Kim Jong-un is acting more responsible than Trump, apparently. But regardless of what you think of our administration, it's good that they're fighting back. I mean, some things are debatable what the administration is doing, but this is not one of them. I'm willing to fight tooth and nail on this one because frankly, it's totally true. What this guy is doing is insane. I mean, I can't even believe it. I mean, this is a world leader in the 21st century. He's an adult and a world leader at that, and he's actually threatening to bomb the US for no reason whatsoever. Why? This country, North Korea, has allies in China and Russia. But you want to know who else has allies in China and Russia? We do. And if you look at China and Russia, I mean, they aren't exactly the most, at least nowadays, they're not exactly the most honorable stick up for your friend countries. But then again, very few countries nowadays are. If it comes down to North Korea versus America, if you're a smart country, you're going to go with whichever side is more powerful. Right now, they're doing the smart thing, kind of. And they're playing both ends of the coin as long as they can until they just get demands from our administration to do otherwise. And in my view, our administration should actually be cracking down more on them just to get off, just leave North Korea alone. Actually, that's the wrong phrasing. I'm making it sound like they're bullying. Not leave North Korea alone, but just completely abandon them. That's the term I'm looking for. Abandon North Korea. Let Kim struggle. And I mean, we should have every effort. Okay, not every effort, but many of our efforts right now, all this global stuff, like we're going for this global, whatever, equality or something like that, like whatever, Illuminati, UN takes over the world and the whatever, United Nations is actually the Illuminati, whatever. Cool. We'll focus on that later. Can we please get rid of the imminent danger right now, which is Kim Jong-un? I'm not saying we shouldn't start a war unless we absolutely have to. Unless he goes completely bonkers and tries to do something or does something, we should not start a war. I mean, that's really it. But if it comes down to it, China and Russia, they're going to pick what's best for them. So the options are a small country with a population. Hold on, I'm going to look this up right now. I believe it was about 1 million, but North Korea population. Okay, it's not 1 million. I'm sure it's larger, but still. Okay, it's way larger than that. 25 million people. A small country. Are Russia, which is a country. Sorry, is Russia? Is Russia or China? Russia, a country with, I believe, pushing 200 million people. And China, a country with over 1.4 billion. Are they going? Yeah, Russia has 145 million. So are these two massive superpowers going to side with this little guy who can offer them pretty much nothing in the little dinky country of 25 million? Or are they going to pick the hegemony? The world's single strongest country. Of course Russia and China are going to pick us. I mean, unless suddenly Putin, or I forget the president of China, unless Putin or President Jinping, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, suddenly decide, no, let's go with North Korea, which I find unlikely, it will make sense to go to the US. And the thing is, North Korea isn't exactly some sort of land of barbarians. I mean, jokes aside, like many people call Kim Jong-un a crazy fat kid. Like, yeah, okay, it's funny, but I mean, even though he is crazy, he's not exactly a kid. He's a world leader with nuclear technology. I don't know how that constitutes as a kid, but he still is fat. And no, that wasn't a joke. But I mean, I just don't understand the thinking. Like, what is his angle? I mean, this is the Kim Jong-un paradox. Or not paradox, but this is what he's imagining. He threatens. He actually goes for the US. Russia and China have his back. And together they take down the US. Sorry, what? Did you guys hear that? Sorry, that's the noise of me waking up from a dream. That's probably Kim Jong-un right now. Because that is just beyond insane. I mean, the fact that you think you can win against the US even to start with, because think about it, by the time any kind of relations are formed with Russia and China, again, with the 0.5% chance that either one of them do it, by the time it's already formed, I mean, North Korea is gonna be so far below ocean level, I can't even tell you. I mean, it's just insane to me how someone on that level can be so dumb. But I mean, and honestly, we still don't know what's gonna happen. This is the thing. We don't know what's gonna happen. And in fact, I'm looking at stories right now about the president of China, Xi Jinping, I believe it is, and he's asking for peace between the two countries. Peace. This is an article by the Washington Post title 12 hours ago. I'm reading this right now. China's president urges Trump to use restraint over North Korea. By the way, you gotta love that mainstream media. You can never call it President Trump. You gotta use Trump. Just call him Obama, that's a problem. Trump, no problem. China's president urges Trump to use restraint over North Korea. Then there's another one by the Wall Street Journal 3 hours ago. Chinese president urges restraint on North Korea in call with Trump. 6 hours ago by CNN. Chinese President Xi calls for calm over North Korea. So clearly this happened. I mean, you have 2 fake news sources and 1 real news source saying it happened. So, I mean, there's got to be something to it. And this is the thing. Seriously? You want calm? I mean, I understand why he's doing it. He's looking out for the best interests in his country. He wants to keep things in the state of limbo so he can get not only benefits from us, but benefits from North Korea as well. But we haven't really started attacking China. The U.S. like with not. I don't mean literally attacking. I mean in the sense of regulations. We have done so to Russia. So, okay, cool. I mean, it's fascinating to me. And Vladimir Putin. I'm actually looking up right now. Putin, North Korea, because I mean, why would you not drop it? Why would you not try to get on good grounds with the U.S.? I mean, I understand that Russia is also one of the world's superpowers, but that isn't exactly a reason to fight with another one. You know what I mean? And by the way, again, I'm not talking about some little role-playing game, some war role-playing game. These are world leaders. These are actual world leaders. But you know what? Whatever. Putin has typically turned out to be smarter than we all think. So maybe things will turn out. We'll see. I've never felt comfortable. Vladimir Putin is a very shifty person. Smart one, but a shifty one. So who knows? Maybe there is some sort of angle where he is gonna get in the good graces of the Trump administration. We'll see. Everything is yet to be determined. Right now, we're in the epitome of the action, if you will. But the thing that amazes me is like we had stuff like this in I'm not gonna say the Cold War because nobody really did anything in the Cold War. It was like I could, you know, a lot of that. No one really did anything. Now it's just a tiny country flexing its muscles. We had stuff like this going on in the Roman era, where countries or empires would flaunt at each other and everything would turn to nothing. I mean, like seriously. Anyways, if anyone would like to call in this final minute and Kim Jong-un get a final word in before we move on to our next section, which is our free-for-all section, in which you could talk about anything, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the PIN 24777. Sorry, I sound a bit exasperated. I forgot to get my water before we came up, and my toe still feels like someone set its nerves on fire. We are now going to be transitioning into our free-for-all section perfectly on time. And I wanted to talk about a little bit of Smash moves. Not moves, news. I don't know how I mixed up those two words with one another. But hey, I mean, on this show, anything can happen. We've had, luckily, as of yet, we haven't had any spam callers, but honestly, with my luck, it's going to happen eventually. Smash news. To anybody in the community, right now, the biggest thing, other than the fact that SmashCon is starting, or has started, I kind of forget which, is the fact that Nairo beat Zero's Diddy with Bowser. Yes, to those of you who know of the circumstances but don't know of the actual news, your ears are not filled with some kind of odd liquid. Nothing like that. You're fine. At least your hearing is. Nairo's Bowser actually beat Zero's Diddy. Yeah, I know. And he actually explained this in his latest Ask Nairo, how it happened. How Zero, he wasn't really good with his grabs, and Bowser's a very grab-heavy character, so this is like a really great opportunity for him to take a hold of. And, you know, typically with grab delay, there's some end lag. And with Bowser's a really good character to take advantage of end lag, at least in the temporary. Unless you're a really good Bowser, like Nairo is, where it can last longer than temporary. But people are amazed by this because Bowser is a really bad matchup for Diddy. Or I guess you could say it's really good for Diddy. Because Diddy is a top-tier lightweight, and Bowser is a mid-tier heavy. That's not a good thing. At least not for the Bowser. But still, fair and square, Nairo beat Zero as Bowser. And people are just freaking out about this. And honestly, it's really cool to think about. Like, people say that Smash 4 is kind of broken, and to an extent it is, with characters like Shulk and Cloud and Bayonetta, who is so overpowered with that stupid combo. I mean, the worst thing that can happen in the world is USD, the Bayonetta taunts, for an SD. And then they do that stupid thing with the upbees and the upbees and the upbees. It never stops upping, and it keeps upping, and never stops upping. And then, oh, well, I guess I'm done upping. Up smash. Oh, look at that. Game GG JV. Wonderful. Sorry, I was taking out some aggression there. But you literally feel like double SDing as soon as you go on for Glory 1v1 and you see the Bayonetta. It's true. You have no such fear with Cloud or Diddy or any other character, just Bayonetta. But anyways, but Smash 4 can't be that broken if you have characters that can actually beat other characters, especially when some characters are the world's best. Like Zero is the world's best Smash player playing as his best character against a character who he'd be good against. I mean, it's just like everything was in Zero's favor. So it shows that Smash 4 is actually a very balanced game. Anyone can win anything as long as there's skill involved, even though there are certain advantages. Another thing, Falco is underrated. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I mean, Falco is great. But like, you look at a game like Melee, as some would say, or Brawl, which in my view are completely broken. If you play, what's a good example? Well, okay, the top tier characters are A tier to SS. I'd like to look at mid as D to B, and G to E as low tier. If you pick Pichu as an example, unless you're Mewtwo King. Mewtwo King is the exception, but let's say you pick a Pichu. You go up against Fox or Marth, not happening. In Melee, not happening. Under no circumstances are you going to win that game. It's not going to happen unless your Fox is brain dead and you're Mewtwo King. That's the only way. Smash Bros. The original is also pretty balanced, but it's not hard to have a balanced game with 12 characters. And Brawl, on the whole, was not that bad, with the exception of Meta Knight. I typically like to divide characters into tiers as far as top tier, mid tier, and low tier. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do. I mean, you could look at it like if you looked purely at tiers and didn't actually know the character themselves, you'd say like, I mean, what's a good example? You could say A- through SS tier is top tier, like Falco and Meta Knight. You could say C tier to B tier is mid tier. That's pretty fair. Again, for Brawl. From Pikachu to Pit. Pretty fair. And you could say that low tier is Rob, like C- to F. So like Rob to Ganondorf. I mean, a fair assumption, right? Wrong. Completely, totally, and 100% dead wrong. S tier to A- is top tier, and everything else the same. Now, the SS tier, which is specifically devoted to Meta Knight, is not top tier. That is the S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S S tier. Because Meta Knight is beyond overpowered. There's a YouTube channel, Little Z, pretty cool channel, makes Smash montages for Smash 4. That's the main deal that they do other stuff as well, but I mean, let's be fair, that's the only stuff most people watch on his channel. And he hasn't done any of the other games, like he hasn't done Brawl, Melee, or the original. The day that he finishes Smash 4 and he still wants to do blank is OP for Overpower, which is the name of his montage series. The day that he does Meta Knight is OP is the day the earth will shatter. Because, well, he gets some amazing combos. I mean, the guy, this guy, he literally has a Jigglypuff is OP. The worst character in the game, and it is still good. And, Jigglypuff is OP was okay. One of the worst OPs. Do you want to see what S-tier OPs are like? You look up Lucas is OP. You look up Captain Falcon is OP. You look up King Dedede or Too Farts Too Furious for Wario. Beautiful one right there, one of my favorite animes. Kirby, perhaps, is OP. But worst of all, his best OP, Donkey Kong. Because of the ding dong. The expansion. I shriek to this day. Anyways, to those of you who would like to call and talk about dongs expanding in Smash 4, which is the best thing to do. You do that down tilt in midair, the dare. The number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. I must admit, it is nice to have a closed window to avoid neighbors talking, a hurting toe, which is probably going to swell at any point now, and extreme heat without water or breaks. I mean, got to admit, the only thing that could make this more pleasurable is the fires of hell. But I do enjoy doing this show. Like, jokes aside, I really enjoy doing this show. I mean, it's a really fun deal. It's kind of a nice conversation point when people call in. And afterwards, when people want to leave their commentary, like if they can't make it to the show, and say, like, here are my opinions on XX, like particularly the ones with shows and movies and Star Wars got a lot of traction. So I'm really happy that turned out well. And I'm just really happy that we're getting a really nice talkative feel, even though we've only had one major disagreement where it got kind of offensive so far. And that wasn't between me, that was between two other people. And I'm honestly pretty surprised by that. Like, that's really cool. I'm happy we have this kind of nice feeling on the whole, at least. And another thing, we're coming up on our 10th show. I mean, kind of hard to believe, but yeah, we're coming up on our 10th show, which really seems weird. I mean, it seems like I started this yesterday. But I mean, next week, when I do next week's show, assuming everything goes according to plan, it'll be our 10th show. So what should we do to celebrate? Let me know on that one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for that one as of yet. but I'm sure I'll think of something, or you guys will. I will definitely be doing some brainstorming for that one. Might even be a 2-hour special, since, again, 10 episode special, no one is double digits. 10 show special. I know it's not the biggest milestone, but considering first 10 shows ever, hey, why not? The next one will be 25, and then 50, and 100, and so on. At least I think. I mean, this isn't exactly the biggest thing to worry about. But back to Smash, in my view, they did a really good job with balancing things out in Smash 4. And that's one of the things that makes the game interesting, where there are still advantages, so it's not completely boring, and there are like little game-breaking bugs where everything is just so balanced that it's completely boring and every match feels stale and the same. But it's also to the point where not like Brawl or Melee, where everything is just either so underpowered or so overpowered that the enjoyment is completely eroded after you get done playing Meta Knight against any level 9 CPU. I mean, whenever my confidence used to be down, I remember I'd go over to Brawl back when I played Brawl. I'd get a level 9 CPU Ganondorf, and I'd play as Meta Knight. And I just remember I'd feel much, much better after that. Actually, any CPU level against any character other than another Meta Knight. Man, you go on back then what was considered for glory. Half the people were Meta Knights. Ugh, the pain. I stopped doing it because it just got so annoying and repetitive to fight nothing but Meta Knight. Because my main was Meta Knight, but my second main was I want to remember if it was, yeah, I believe it was Snake, who's really good. And also top tier because that's the kind of person I am. And my third was Ice Climbers, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. Back in my good old Brawl days, but I'm positive my main was the Meta Knight, and I'm pretty sure Snake was on there too. Marth, but I don't know why they keep trying to get us to care about Fire Emblem. I mean, no one played Fire Emblem, and it was okay when they put one Fire Emblem in Melee. No, sorry, 2 Fire Emblems in Melee, since Roy was in it. Roy, I believe, was Fire Emblem. Yep, yeah, Roy was Fire Emblem. And yeah, those are the only ones in Melee. And by the way, yes, I'm gonna keep calling it Melee because that's the kind of person I am. And also I believe it was only Marth for Brawl. Again, okay. But we had, I want to say, half a dozen different Fire Emblem characters, and as for anime sword fighters, it's even more. Like, again, let's just count the number of Fire Emblem characters, and then we'll do anime sword fighters before we go into our next segment, which is video games, which I'm going to be going over the top 10 video games. And if anyone would like to participate, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Now, first we're going to go through the number of Fire Emblem characters. Marth, that's the first of them, and people's personal favorite since he's highest on the tier list. There's also Lucina, which most people consider a Marth clone, but honestly, in my view, Marth is better for one-hit moves, whereas Lucina is a better combo character and more consistent. That's why I like Lucina more. That's why I'm better against Lucina, and that's why I like playing as Lucina more. That's the second Fire Emblem character. The third Fire Emblem character, I believe Robin was from Fire Emblem. I'm going to be double-checking this right now. And by the way, we've already gone past 2, which was the original number in Melee, which had the most. Yeah, 2. Robin was in Fire Emblem, so that's 3. Shulk was in Xenoblade Chronicles. I also think was Fire Emblem. Yes, he was. So that is already 4 Fire Emblem characters. Now, Palutena, I want to say, is from Kid Icarus, and that is true. So it looks like not from Fire Emblem. For some reason, I thought I saw it in Fire Emblem, but Roy was in the game, so that's 5. And no, I'm not talking about Bowser Jr. skin because no one plays as that Roy. Whenever someone says Roy's our boy, they never mean Bowser Jr. And that'll be it for the Fire Emblem characters. But 5 Fire Emblem characters, 1 top tier, 3 mid tiers, 1 low tier. 4 midweights and 1 heavy. Sorry, no, 2 heavies and 3 midweights. And now for the anime sword fighters. Cloud, which was Final Fantasy, which everybody wanted, let's be fair. Marth, Corrin, okay, here's the thing. Meta Knight was in Kirby, which was a Japanese cartoon, but it's not a traditional anime character. But we'll count it. Why not? Let's just count. I just want to count it. So Cloud, Marth, Corrin, Meta Knight, Lucina, Toon Link was in no anime. So far we are already at 5. We're already at 5, and we've only gone through top tier and part of mid tier. Robin counts as a sword fighter anime character. Ike, Shulk, that's 8. That is already 8. Roy, which makes 9, and I want to say there's a 10. Nope. 9 anime sword fighters. Who needs 9 anime sword fighters? And if you're counting the number that people actually play, because no one plays Mii fighters, the percentage, 16% of the roster is anime sword fighters. Anyways, we're going to be moving on to our final segment, which is now video games. We're running a bit behind schedule, so we're going to wrap up this segment quickly, but real quick, for anyone who wants to join, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Number 10, Inside. Now, Inside, we got a lot of good games from the indie scene this year. I'm pretty surprised by that. We got a good bit of games. I more than expected, actually. We have 2 indie games on this list. Inside is the first of them, and Inside got number 10 on this list. Now, a lot of people are going to be mad about this, the fact that Inside is number 10 on this list. Actually, pretty much everything on this list is controversial, or almost everything. But number 1 is most of them all. But I'll be explaining that as I go along. Not like the movies one, which is a bit more slam dunk. Inside's gameplay was nothing, and the graphics were nothing. Most of the game was pretty subpar, but the story, not even the story, the message was amazing. Not only that, but the extremely satisfying ending. Its message talks about individualism and how even though sticking together and being a well-formatted society is important, we should still have our own unique senses of individualism so we don't all blend in and become the same gray void as everyone else. This is a message told with no dialogue in an indie game that is 3 hours long. The ending I don't want to go into too much, but it is incredibly satisfying, super spoiler filled. Be it, I don't even want to call it, it's not even bittersweet. I mean, it's like there's like the tiniest amount of happiness and the rest of it sucks. It's satisfying, but it's not a good ending. Number 9, Super Hot. Super Hot is the antithesis, or no, that's not the word. Sorry, it's the exact opposite of Inside. Its story was horrible. It was convoluted. It was dark. It was confusing. It was just bad, really bad. Graphics were even worse than Inside. It's a bunch of pixels, pretty much, in 3D style. But the gameplay is so much fun. The premise is time only moves when you move. So you get to fight all kinds of baddies, and you only move. You can move, like you can turn around whenever you want, but you can only like fire and shoot and fight back and move. Or the enemy can do so only when you move. And everything is in super slow-mo when you stop moving and take time to think. It's a really well thought out concept, and it was executed amazingly. Another great indie game. But that's the 2 for this year. Everything else this year is corporate owned. So, and honestly, there were a lot of good ones from the corporate scene this year, but not as many as typical. Like, companies are falling flat on their face this year, with the exception of the games on this list. Number 8, NBA 2K17. I'm going to go quick over these next 2 games, this one and the next one, because it's pretty similar. NBA 2K17 is a basketball game. It's just a really fun basketball game. And despite the fact that Cleveland Cavaliers are overpowered, it is still a lot of fun to play. That and the Golden State Warriors. Those 2 teams are just beyond overpowered, be it you're playing as them or against them, just overpowered. it's a really fun experience. It's just a blast, and honestly, the fact that it isn't completely polished actually makes it more fun. Um, it's just like some of the stuff is a bit wonky, and that results in some kind of funny gameplay, even though the campaign mode is not that fun. FIFA 17 did everything that NBA did right, and then made it better, and got rid of the parts that were bad. FIFA had a pretty interesting story, kind of okay, not great, but at least its story was bearable. It was kind of interesting how it was sort of an RPG without becoming just like Undertale, pretty much, where it was constant RPG, nothing but RPG. Um, and it just had a really interesting feel to it to play soccer. I'm not typically a fan of sports games, but these two games really did it. They really nailed it for me this year. I mean, I feel like we had a lot of great turnout from the sports game scene this year. So happy to hear about that. Happy to hear about that. Now I'm going to go into a bit more detail on these upcoming games. Number 6, Dark Souls 3. Now this is the one that everyone predicted. This is the one that really everybody predicted. Because Dark Souls 3 was Dark Souls 3. I mean, it was Dark Souls 3. I mean, everyone was waiting for this game since Dark Souls 2. Because Dark Souls 2 was really good. And Dark Souls 3 was really good with graphics and characters, even though the story was really depressing. But the thing about it is the gameplay. I mean, sometimes it feels a bit too hard. Like, I feel like the line between really hard stuff, and like the line is blurred between really hard stuff and just garbage you can't avoid that's just thrown at you. I feel like sometimes that line is blurred, but it actually makes it a really funny experience, kind of like NBA. It feels like a really kind of cool, janky experience. And still not as hard as Bloodborne. And all I can say is thank gosh, because, oh, goodness, was Bloodborne. Oh, Bloodborne was hard. But I feel like Dark Souls 3 did it better. And it was so artistic in its simplicity of color palette that it just floors me how this company can do it. They keep doing it. I feel like it was most emphasized with Bloodborne, and I cannot wait for Bloodborne 2 if there is a Bloodborne 2. But yeah, just amazing. The number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, if you want to call into the show, go into our top 5 video games of 2016 in these last 8 minutes of the show. The number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Number 5, Doom. Doom is Doom. It was a remake of the original Doom, which is a really great time, and it really recaptured what it felt like to be Doom. I talked about this in my movies list. If you missed that, go back and listen to that part before you listen to this. But it really recaptured the essence of what it meant to be what it was originally was, without going to the point where it's just a nothing, a void of nothingness filled with nothingness. Besides the original. Doom is just a really fun FPS. You can do it online. You can do a campaign mode. A lot of gore, a lot of blood. It's just like it's a shooter. It's a shooter. I mean, that's it. It's so much fun though, because it just kind of gets rid of all the other, whatever. That's so many FPSs like Mass Effect Andromeda, which screwed it up horribly with all these different this and that and that and this and that and that and that and that, to the point where this is so boring. And the experience is just totally ruined. Like, Doom was a really fun game. If you're on your couch with dudes, or you're recording a Let's Play or something, Doom is the game because it is fantastically fun. All right, number 4, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, because of a Crash Bandicoot reference. Number 3, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding about the part that it was Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it did happen, but that's not why it's number 4, even though that is a part of it. And I'm not moving on to number 3 just like that. Uncharted 4 was pretty much a great game in every respect. Not a stellar game in every respect, a great game in every respect. It was really slow for those first, hour and a half or so, like all the Uncharted games. And then it just gets going and it doesn't stop. all the way through. Just does not stop. It didn't really have that next gen kind of feeling like Metal Gear Solid 5 did. But it is, even though it is a partly cinematic experience, and the story was really fun. I mean, I had a great time playing through the game, or at least the parts of it that I did play. It was just a really fun experience. I played most of the game. It was just really fun. The story is really interesting. The characters are so unique and funny. You get attached to them, even if you didn't play the other games. And it's just like the gameplay has been so improved from like Uncharted 2 and 3. Like, it's actually fun now, and the graphics are just insane. Everything about this game is just a blast. And if you're looking to have a good time, not with the guys, just by yourself, just want to play a good game that'll take a while, and you want to look at some stellar graphics, some stellar views, go get some of that Uncharted 4. Have a good time. Have a good time. Number 3, Final Fantasy 15. This is one that most likely a lot of people will hate me for, because the fact that I put Final Fantasy 15 on this list. But hear me out, hear me out. This game was freaking amazing. It's a next-gen experience. That's one of the things that this game learned from Metal Gear Solid 5. Unlike Hitman, it really has an open world kind of feeling, without to the point where you feel like you're lost in the middle of nothingness. Just you keep going out and you're like trying to find, like, what do I do? Huh? Guys, help, please. It's just a really fun game. There are no invisible walls, which is pretty cool, and the interactions between the different characters are actually lifelike. Even if you didn't play the previous games, you really get attached to the characters, just like in Uncharted 4. And the gameplay is super fun, assuming you're not like staring at a tree half the time. And it's just a great game overall. The story is really interesting. It kind of drops off in the end and the beginning, but the middle parts of the game, which is just like an unbelievably vast majority of it, is filled with all kinds of stuff. There are all kinds of cool Easter eggs for people who played some of the other Final Fantasies, like I did. I didn't play. I'm not like some diehard fan. Like, I didn't play Final Fantasy 1 all the way to Final Fantasy 15 and everything in between. I played a couple of them. Some of them I played little parts of. Some of them I played. Yeah, some of them I played little parts of. Some of them I played all the way through. Final Fantasy 15 you can't actually play all the way through because there's so much stuff. And that's another cool thing. You have your choice of what you want to do. It is not something that it doesn't force you to do anything. You can go through the quest at your own pace, and that's just such a great thing that this game does. It makes you go through the game at your own pace while still having fun, to the point where it's not some baby mode garbage. And like I said, there are a ton of cool little Easter eggs in there. So to those of you who are diehard fans, just if you want to do it purely for like the fact checking and like just getting a feel for Final Fantasy, again, Final Fantasy 15 is the game for you. And as a starter for the series, just Final Fantasy 15. Go play it. Go play it. After you're done with your Final Fantasy 7 or your Kingdom of Hearts or something, go play your Final Fantasy 15. And yes, one of these days I actually do want to play Fire Emblem, because I hear it's really fun. But different topic, different day. Just like Ocarina of Time will be at some point once I finish replaying the game. Overwatch, number 2. We probably won't have time for a number 1, so I'm going to leave another little cliffhanger to remind you all to go to my my Google Plus account. And if anyone would like to talk about the fact that my number 2 game is Overwatch, please call me up. Number is 42. That's what? The number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Once again, if you'd like to participate in the call for these last 2 minutes, the number is 719-284-5873 with the pin 24777. Now, it made sense that Overwatch was on this list. Many people were actually thinking it would be my number 1 game of the year. People are either thinking this or Final Fantasy 15. Sorry, not Final Fantasy 15. Did I say that? I'm sorry. Most people are thinking it would either be Uncharted or Overwatch. That would be my number 1, but it's actually not, even though they were both on the list pretty high. Overwatch is my only complaint is that its single player it doesn't have a single player. There's a whole thing where they set up a story and they just dropped it. Like, there's this training room, which is super boring, but the online mode, oh my goodness, the online mode. I mean, there's so much stuff to do. It's like such a dynamic FPS. The maps are really creative, so you feel like you can move around and look at little things without becoming some big open world thing like in Minecraft, where nobody can fight because nobody can find each other because some of those maps are too big. But it's also not to the point where the map is completely irrelevant, like Smashville or Town and City or Battlefield in Smash Bros. 4, like the maps you pick in the or Final Destination in the pro leagues. And Overwatch is just a great game to play with your friends or by yourself. There's so many cool things you can do with it, and there's so many cool characters with so many different things. There's some of the characters are boring, like 2v.A7 or something like that, which just floats around, does nothing. But like you have Roadhog, who's like moving around with his whip and like pulling people in and shoot him in the face with his massive gun. There's Genji, who's like throwing around his shurikens. You got Tracer, who's like zipping around back and forth, resetting time, moving time faster forward, shooting with little quick laser pistols. You got Widowmaker, who's my personal main, who's sniping people from miles away. And there's so much cool stuff you can do and so many cool team strategies. And yeah, Overwatch is a tier list, but that's something I'll get into a different day. If you'd like me to, please let me know. Sadly, we don't have enough time for our number one, so you'll have to go check that out on by yourself on my Google Plus. Once again, let me know what you'd like to do for our 10th, I almost said 10th anniversary, for our 10th show special. I think I'm going to make it 2 hours, but let's see if we can do something more. Do something more than that. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, so much. Have a fantastic day.